If you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, come to KB Security at 1 AM on October 12th and bring $50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. The red diamond ring. The red diamond ring on his finger. And also, why would he reveal his identity if he's the one benefiting? Kane is the one who's benefiting from blackmailing Ron. Or rather, Kane is the one benefiting from Ron stealing things for him. So why would he reveal it? Red diamond. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. What do you mean by that? Oh my, I was certain you were already aware. Zavari! KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was the security team chief, I stole data from the company. Kane Bullard had yet to forgive young Mr. Delight, which is why he sent him that letter upon mistakenly believing he was the thief. Here's a file that we discovered in Mr. Bullard's office. Evidence that Mr. Bullard was receiving money through blackmail. However, isn't this a bit odd? Why did the defendant pay Mr. Bullard the money, even though he wasn't actually Master Mask? On that point, there was an unfortunate bit of chance. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master Mask. Do you really think that story is going to hold up? That assertion is not merely my own, I'm afraid. What do you mean? I have here a memo from Ron Delight's wife, Desiree Delight. Ronnie thinks he's Master Mask. Don't you feel sorry for him? Please don't think too badly of him. Ha! Well, Mr. Trite? Ugh. Was he trying to act like Mr. Light right now? Or just now? I thought he was actually pretty convincing. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. Now that's just your imagination talking. Come now, sir lawyer. I'm afraid imagination isn't the right word for it. This is a deduction, the result of carefully applied reasoning. Can we hear that careful reasoning for ourselves? It's a long story and better saved for another time. Very well, another time. Those so-called long stories aren't usually all that long. At least not in my experience. So you're gonna try to connect Detective Atme to Mr. Bullard, right? Yeah, that's right. Hopefully it won't require surgery either. In that case, you have to talk about the blackmail. That's true. Was that blackmail letter really intended for Ron? Since we don't have enough information, you should press him for more testimony. Maybe I'll be able to shake some contradictions loose that way. Okay, so I'm gonna press everything one more time, because she just told me to press everything one more time. So let's go ahead and see if any later sentences contradict earlier sentences. Mistook. Press harder. Well, I mean, he's in the photo too. So if wait, no. If Bullard thought that somebody in the photo was Master Mask, he could have thought you were Master Mask. What's the list again? There's no red diamond there. Alright, so pressing everything again makes no difference. Great. So there are a number of possible things, and it's not entirely clear which one it is. Let's go ahead and present the newspaper article here. Nope. Let's present the blackmail letter here because the red ring. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Adme? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? Yeah, he doesn't wear a red diamond. You wear a red diamond. I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're the one to talk. At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. No, they're not. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. This is toxic. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. Wait. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter? Wait, what? The contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter? Why would I show... I think it's Kane's list, because the Kane's list doesn't have a diamond in it. There's no diamond there either, so let's not do that. Ron's testimony. From the second heist on, he was stealing as directed by blackmail letters. Is it the list, or is it that? I think it's more likely to be that. Ha! A little 2-1 punch like that wouldn't even faze me. I think you mean 1-2 punch. Mr. Wright! Try thinking things through a little more before finding fault with others. I don't know why. If he was being blackmailed to steal, why would he then be blackmailed for money? He has no money. Desiree spends all his money. Alright, so I'm gonna present the list. The list doesn't have a diamond on it. Doesn't have a red diamond on it, that is. Awful. This game's awful. Contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. If you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, come to KB Security at 1 on October 12th and bring 50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. It's not either of those. Yeah, no, nothing makes sense here. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. Hates criminals and cowards. Used to work as a guard for KP Security. Do I just present him because he wears the red diamond? I don't know what the game wants from me. Contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. He's broke? No, load the game. Or do I just present the letter again? No, I don't just present the letter again. Why would... Cerebral hemorrhaging, blunt force trauma. Precious gem, tear of Imenon. Is it this? I'm gonna just present this and say actually he thought you were the... Unbelievable! Why would that be used here? Why would that be used here? That doesn't make any sense. If we're talking about the blackmail letter, and instead of explaining that, no, Kane was profiting from the blackmail, so why would he ask him for money? He would just like ask him to steal another piece of art. That makes sense, right? Like he wouldn't ask Ron for money. And also, the red diamond is on Luke's hand. So the red diamond mentioned in the letter is the red diamond on his hand. But instead, we're gonna say, actually, Luke thought you were Master Mask because you're in the photo. Unbelievable! Why is that presented here? Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the tear of Imenon, the stolen jewel. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. What? What? No, no. That's not even important. It's not even important. You're gonna say the letter is not referring to this jewel, it's referring to something else. No, come on. Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. Yeah, obviously. Why is that important? That's not important. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. That's not important. Red. Which means... No, but Ron already gave the diamond to Cain. He already gave the tear of Emanon to Cain. He says that in his testimony. That's why I presented the testimony. Or I tried to present the testimony. Oh my god, this thing, this game. Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the tear of Emanon that Master Mask stole at all. Yeah, we know that. It doesn't matter though. That's not important. This is so badly written. And your point is, Mr. Trite? Yeah, exactly. What is your point, Mr. Trite? So you're trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? No, it's just... That is what you're trying to say, right, Trite? That's what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright? Well, that's what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Yes. That's not important. Wait, it doesn't matter that he wasn't talking about the tear of Emanon. It could have been any other red diamond. Just because it's not referring to that particular jewel, it doesn't mean it couldn't refer to some other jewel that Master Mask has stolen. Or received. It doesn't even say stolen. It doesn't say stolen, it says received. The red diamond you received the other day. Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? Yeah, it's right there. You have been personally involved in every single Master Mask case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen. And received the jewel as your reward. Yeah. Why did we have to show the tear of Emanon to get to this point? A jewel? Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring. Ngug. That is the diamond referred to in the letter. Which means that Cain Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you. Order in the court. Order I say. It seems you've gotten too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trite. Uh-oh. I don't like the way he said that. Cain Bullard blackmailing Luke at me. Are you for real? Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him. Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Cain Bullard threatened to make Luke Atme's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? Atme killed Cain Bullard because he was afraid his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? This is what it all comes down to, Nick. The identity that Luke Atme wanted so desperately to keep secret was his identity as a blackmailer. Luke Atme was a blackmailer.
Objection.
Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Cain Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atme. Are you saying that Admi was blackmailing someone else on top of that? Yeah. You have to admit, that does sound a little odd. It's not odd, it's the only thing that makes any sense anymore in this world. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Admi. But Ron Delight was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So, did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the tear of a man on heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person, incredibly detailed plans. Detailed plans? In which case, that would mean that Ron Delight was actually Master Mask. That is what we're claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Look At Me! Silence! LeMayo. Now I see, it's all becoming clear. What is... When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless with the tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong? I mean, you're not wrong. Whoever wrote this story is careless and jumps to conclusions. How did you... It's true. You say that I, Look At Me, was blackmailing Ron Delight. In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Master Mask. Well, yes. Ron Delight started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed that first crime. Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Look At Me know that Ron Delight was Master Mask? I mean, they're right there in the newspaper article. I think I see it. You think you see a lot of things, Phoenix. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief, trying to be the center of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. It has a picture of you and Ron Delight in his guard uniform. It seems that Master Mask didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in a bucket. That sounds far too stupid to be true. Yes, I agree, Judge. Correct! With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Admi. That's when you learned that under his mask, Master Mask was really Ron Delight. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Master Mask? Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer. What a fraud! Trying to pass himself off as an ace detective. Why you? How dare you expose me like that? Why I mean, I've never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective and also Master Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You are a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity! Why you? How dare you even what? Go to prison, asshole. It would seem we finally arrived at the real answer. That was quite a performance by Mr. Admi. This last sequence was awful. None of the things we presented should have proven anything. None of the things we presented actually proved anything, but he confessed in the end, and that's all that matters, I guess. It's awful. Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge. No, you won't. You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Wright. What do you... It's true that you've proven a lot of things. No, not really, no. Things like Look At Me was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. That's right, that's why he's the one who killed Mr. Bo. But... there's still one thing you have yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. No way! Order in the court. Well, Mr. Wright. This is it. This is the final round. I mean, we didn't prove anything else either, so I don't see why we need to prove this. I've got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. But, can you really prove that? That's long enough, Mr. Wright. I want to hear your answer. That night, Look At Me was at KB security and the defense... We can't prove it. We can't prove it because, like... How could he have even gotten into the building without a security card? Oh no, he is. Look, he was allowed into the CEO office because he was invited by the letter, right? He was invited to go to KB security, and no one pushed the alarm because he was expected. Like, if somebody just comes into your office, you would press the alarm. But because he was expected, nobody pressed the alarm. Until too late, I guess. No, actually, no, somebody... Wait. No fingerprints. No fingerprints and the alarm was pressed. Oh, that's right, Luke pressed it. But that's not really enough evidence. Like, it shows that he could have been there. There's no solid evidence that he was there. I'm gonna say the truth, which I can't prove it. I can't prove it. Just as I thought. But if we hear more of Detective Atme's testimony... Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Wright. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony, that's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Look At Me is here after we interrupted his own trial. And you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as Master Mask. No. Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Order in the court. That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. At this rate, runners. Don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence. No, we don't. By then, it'll be too late. Huh? Why? Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law. Double jeopardy. Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. That is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Atlee will be found guilty in a matter of minutes, guilty as mask the mask, which means he will be innocent as far as the murder of Cain Bullard is concerned. No way! The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atlee's guilt of that crime here means that he will never again be tried as Cain Bullard's murderer. What?